Foul Territory is presented by Fox One. I'm being told that Erik Kratz has an important statement. Let's go to him now.
Shohei Ohtani is confirmed on a flight to Toronto.
Confirmed. Okay, confirmed. Let's start the show. We can. I just thought of this. My favorite tweet yesterday actually was from our friend Alden Gonzalez. You know, he covers West Coast ball, a lot of Dodgers, right? Mm-hmm. For ESPN. One of you remind me next time he comes on to just spend 5 minutes on this topic. He goes, questions being asked during this World Series are making me physically ill. And I feel so heard. You guys didn't go through this, but I covered a lot of postseasons, and then people pop up. And I don't want to – all right, I'll do it. It's usually the local news. And they show up, and the questions are next level. You've probably gotten them a million times.
Yeah.
Have you gotten when you're in the playoffs and all of a sudden you start seeing people you've never seen there before?
Yeah, of course.
And you're like, oh, you don't know baseball at all.
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, that happens all the time. That happens as soon as the playoffs start, though.
Okay.
From the wild card round to the World Series. It only gets worse as they get farther into it because more people start showing up. But there are times where you look at someone and you're like, you've never been to a game in your life, have you?
How are you with that? Because you're an interesting character. Did you just play along and answer their
depending on who it was.
question?
Sometimes.
But did you ever like laugh or make fun
of
it?
Oh, of course.
Or, yeah,
me. You know me.
That's what I'm saying.
Of course I would say so. I mean, there were times when I was playing, make a run and all of a sudden you see someone and you're like, okay. And they you can always tell them too because they don't know what to do or where to go or how to act. So they're they're just nervous wreck, and then they get their 2 minutes with you and they act and like, oh God, can we and it's usually the person. So someone will say, because the media access is so limited during the playoffs, so it usually happens on the field, okay? Mm-hmm. So you'll see someone a reporter and they'll say, hey, can I get a couple minutes with you? And then you'll see that person that's like a new person, and I hate to say this, they're usually a younger person, mm-hmm. and they've never been to a game before, and they like tag along, and they're like, oh, we'll get in on this. Right, because once one person grabs somebody, then a couple people start gathering around, and there's that one person that and they're like, and then they just ask you some question. You're just like, first game, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. You try not to make them feel bad, but you kind of feel bad for them.
I mean, Kratz, I'm sure you've been.
It'd be like Michael Beer when he goes to these games, right?
No one. You gotta say who Michael is.
I know who Michael is, but there's a lot of people that don't. And Michael goes up to a player and he's like, so, you like grilled cheeses?
No, that's our social media.
So, do you sleep in your socks like I do?
Hold on. Let me get back on track here.
Do you set 12 alarms to get up at 6 a.m. and they start at 4 a.m.?
Those are actually better questions than – here, I'll give you my example too, Kratz. So, there's the questions where you're like, okay, that's not a question that makes sense for the game of baseball. There's also the people that are coming in who do like the last few minutes of – the news, and I don't know if this is a thing as much. I remember this more from like 10 plus years ago. And I mean, they would say like, oh, I just got to get a quote. So they would actually pretty aggressively get one of the first questions in. It's like there's beat writers covering the team all year and they're ready to ask real questions. And Kratz, there'll be that like one dude who's a hustler and he just shoulders his way in and goes, AJ, how much pressure are you feeling tonight? And every game in the series when it's in their spot, because they usually won't travel, it's that question, and then they'll pull out, run, tape, roll it. And I asked AJ Pierzynski today about the pressure he's feeling in this series.
Yep. My favorite part of all that is watching the guys who have been with you the entire season, their reaction. They're like, they're sitting there, they're waiting for the first question, and that dude just pile drives to the front, and he's like, so, tell me about the pressure. And the other guys are like, oh, great. So when Alden tweeted that, it made me laugh because I've been there. But if anybody doesn't know what we're talking about, just Google the Saturday Night Live awkward sports interview. And it's just like, so, you got a hit. Yeah.
I think I
That's
remember
literally what it is. It's in real life.
Yeah.
It's real life.
People just don't. People aren't around it. They're just not.
It
they're
happens
just there
in
because
Toronto.
it's their job.
It is their job. In fairness,
It's their job, but it's their job to get a quote and to be that person. But they haven't been around. I don't know. We're making fun of them, but it's not.
Yeah, but they could try a little harder. And my example is like I did some entertainment stuff in my past life, and I didn't know everything. But guess what I did? Homework.
Well, yeah.
And then I did. And I'm talking about all the celebrities like I watch every show. I don't, but I did homework, and they were like, "Wow, you really know? You watch all that?" I'm like, "I don't watch any of that." So, just throwing that out there. We'll get Alden Gonzalez at some point, and we can.
Oh, I like Alden.
I like Alden a lot. So just if next time we have him on, everybody remember, so we can spend 5 minutes on that. Now we can spend some time on the World Series.
Charging the mound.
All right, here we go. Blue Jays have to win one game out of their next two. Dodgers have to win 2 in a row. Games are in Toronto. John Schneider, after the big Game 5 win, said, quote, "I can't wait to see what Rogers Center is going to look, feel, and sound like." It's different when a city hasn't experienced moments like this in a long time, right?
100%. Yeah, it's going to be amazing. Here, listen, the one I say this all the time. The one regret I have the year we won in 2005 is we won everything on the road. We won the division on the road. We won the division series on the road. We won the LCS on the road, and we won the World Series on the road. So we never got that home field feeling like this is the clinching game to win something to go to the next round. It was always on the road. So I always wanted that. I've clinched divisions. We played a game 163 a couple years later, and it was at home, and it was incredible. But to feel that feeling of especially the World Series, like you're going home, and you feel that feeling of, man, we're going to win. We have a chance to win in front of our home crowd in a place Toronto hasn't won since '93. It's going to be the best, and these people are going to be fired up. These Canucks are going to be fired up.
You know, the Dodgers, I think out of their whatever World Series titles they have, it's been mentioned a couple times, have only clinched a World Series title once at home, and it was a long time ago, decades and decades ago. So anything they've done recently, I'm not talking about postseason other series, but I'm talking about World Series. For the Toronto Blue Jays, Kratz, they have a chance to party at home if they pull off one more dub.
This quote right here tells me all I need to know about the Jays. Would this quote have been the exact same if they were down 3-2? Can't wait to hear what the crowd looks like. To me, I think they feed off of this stuff. I don't think there's like home field advantage. I just think there's the excitement of going back home. If they were down 3-2, they still would expect Rogers Center to be popping. Like I think this is the kind of stuff that they're like hopefully enjoying and not just like nose to the grindstone, not seeing anything else, because the Rogers Center is going to be a spectacle.
It's going to be great. I can't wait.
What is it that makes players able to seize the moment? It sounds like a local news question, but the reason I ask it is these are the biggest games of their lives. Mm-hmm. Most of the Blue Jays have never been in moments like this before. We can look at Vladdy
but it's
and Bo.
not.
They've been around this kind of craziness their whole life with their dads. But, I mean, Ernie Clement just suddenly a 450 hitter.
But here's what they do. Certain people, and you see, by the way, I have a dog here, right? It's one of my dog's hairs.
Wow.
Eve.
Yeah, it just flew off. It was one of my dog hairs. Sorry.
Which
I took
one?
the dogs for a long walk. Eve, the little Pomsky.
Eve.
You can always tell by if it's curly, it's Eve. If it's straight, it's Noah. But everybody deals with things in different ways, especially pressure, okay? And the Blue Jays have done a really good job, and it's a credit, and we're going to talk about Yesavage later, but it's credit to their scouts, it's credit to their development, it's credit to their coaches, it's credit to the people that they have in this organization and the players, right? First of all, they feed off Vlad. Vlad's always smiling. Vlad never seems like anything bothers him, right? But it seems like nothing really bothers this team, and they're just kind of the same, right? Now, it's easier said than done to do that because I've been on both sides, and I've seen guys crumble. We've seen guys crumble under the pressure, right? Alex Rodriguez for years couldn't hit in the postseason, and they were like, oh, what's wrong with this guy, right? There's certain players that just can't do it. And then you look at Manny Ramirez and David Ortiz, it seems like every time they come up, they got to hit. Right? You have to understand, and I always tell people this too, that, and I think Kratz would agree with me, you give me 9 guys in my lineup most of the time that aren't afraid to get a hit in that moment. First of all, to fail, because you're going to not get a hit every time. But You want to be up in those moments, and that can get hits off a closer in the ninth inning with 2 outs and a runner on second base, and I'll beat you more times than you beat me. Give me 9 of those guys. Give me 9 of those guys that don't shrink away from the moment. Give me 9 of those, because I played with guys that didn't want to be up with the game on the line. Kratz, I know you did too. Like, there was guys you just knew, oh gosh, this game's over. He doesn't want to be up. And you guys would vocalize that, man, and you're like, oh boy, please don't let him get up. But it's just a thing, man. Like, Personally, I love being up in that situation. Did I make a lot of outs in that situation? Yeah, but I was like, okay, screw it. I tried. But I wasn't afraid to fail, right? That's, I think, what Michael Jordan said. I wanted the ball because I could handle the failure. Like, can you handle the failure? LeBron James passes it, right? Like, not a knock on LeBron James. He's a great player, but he usually passes that shot. Michael wanted that ball most of the time, right? You got to have, and it feels like the Blue Jays, not that the Dodgers don't, but it feels like the Blue Jays just have 10, 12 of those guys that just want to be up in those situations, and then they're not afraid of the moment.
One of the aspects you said, Scott, like what does it make? How do teams come up big in the clutch, or whatever your exact question was? I forget, but a lot of it is what AJ said, but he kind of glazed over the one thing. It's okay to have veteran, older guys in your lineup. George Springer struggled up until this year. If you don't think like conversations he's had the last 3 years, even though he's only been super successful this season, the conversations he's had about experiences with Houston, experiences for himself playing in the playoffs, maybe didn't just happen. He doesn't sit down before game 1 of the World Series and say, guys, so in game 1, you're going to feel this. No, he's had these conversations for a long time. There's young guys on this team like Ernie Clement. There's guys that have squallered for a long time in the minor leagues like Nathan Lucas. And there's superstars like Vladdy and Bo. These conversations don't just happen in game 2 of the World Series, right after they win the NLCS. They're conversations that have happened for the last 3-4 years while they've played. Some of them have played together and throughout this season too. And it's like you lean on that and you're like, I get it. I get what he's saying now. I get this feeling that I have is adrenaline times 10, and it's okay to harness it or whatever Springer said. And that wealth of experience is invaluable. And George's contract paid for itself if he ever had even one conversation with any of these guys that made him feel more comfortable to be who they are in the World Series.
I agree with everything you said, and it's super informative. I want to finish this conversation by saying something that we might see in the comments. George Springer actually has had some decent moments with the Blue Jays. It just feels like a long time ago. The last 2 years before this one.
The last 2 were bad.
Were subpar.
Yeah.
He's a 6-year, $150 million contract, at the time largest in Toronto Blue Jays franchise history. Nowadays, we look at a deal like that in baseball and you're like, oh, that's fine. And yeah, this year's been insane for him. Actually, like in 2022, he was a 4-win player, OPS plus 132.
And George Springer's fine.
He's actually had plenty of success with Toronto. It's just that the last 2 years looked like he was declining. And then you're like, oh, you only got like a year and a half because he was hurt the 1 year, a year and a half out of him, and then 2 in decline. And then like, oh, wait, now he's like a top 5 MVP. So just wanted to clear that part up so he doesn't catch, Freddie Freeman strays during the Dabrowski comments. Dude still had a overall great run.
But I want to comment real quick. I know we have to go, but here's the one thing I want to say about what Kratz said, though. I played for a long time, and I was in the playoffs and in and out of the playoffs. I never had a conversation about how you would feel. You can't tell someone how to feel. You can't tell someone how they're going to react, and you can't tell. Now, people, if someone comes up to you and goes, what's it like doing this? You can give them how you feel. But you can't tell anyone. You can't tell anyone how much pain tolerance they have. You can't tell anyone how they're going to feel until you've experienced. And that's one of the things we start digging in these new managers. They don't know. Like, a manager's supposed to be a leader, but he can't tell me. The Butera in Washington, he can't tell me what it's like to be in the World Series and hit against Roger Clemens, Roy Oswalt, down 3, and you need to get a hit.
He's got
he can't tell me
nothing for you there.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you can't tell anybody, but that doesn't always make you a good or a bad manager or a good or a bad leader. But you can't tell anybody. I can't tell you how you're going to feel. I can't tell Michael Beer why he sleeps in socks, right? I can't tell Claudia why she yells at me because I'm late with my picks all the time, right? Mm-hmm. I can't tell people how to act or how to feel. You have to experience, and then you can figure it out.
Wow. Shots fired left and right. in the first.
You can tell them how you felt, and then they connect that in their mind with how they're feeling in the moment. To me, that's where the veteran leadership just oozes.
Okay, so here's the deal. Coming up next, we're going to go over a new manager hire. There are a few to get to during this show, so we'll talk Twins new manager Derek Shelton with Aaron Gleeman, and we'll see if any employees are left here at the company. Hey, if you want to take care of yourself, your body, and everything that goes into health, fitness, and nutrition, Superpower provides Kratz what I would call the pro experience for the everyday person.
100%. Super easy. You get your lab test results back, and you can streamline exactly what you're deficient in. You can say, okay, this is what the results told me. I'm going to go ahead and maybe look for that in a supplement, which they provide. I'm going to go ahead and look at that in my daily workout, which they give so many different ideas of how to make sure your deficiencies become some of your superpowers.
Superpower used to cost $499. Head to superpower.com right now to learn more and lock in the special $199 price while it lasts. After you sign up, they'll ask you how you heard about them, and make sure you mention FT. Your biology decoded, your blueprint activated with Superpower. Have you guys seen this? Max Scherzer.
What's he doing?
Fired up about Trey Yesavage. And look, wait for it. He chucks his cup against the wall. I mean, if I would have loved him,
I would have loved to have played with him at some point.
You would have loved that, right?
Oh man, we would have had the best time. I mean, I've known Max for a long time. We would have had the best time. Because I just love dudes that they're into it. And I don't mean into it when they're pitching. He's into it when he's not pitching, right? And those are the guys like Chris Sale, Mark Burley, Brad Radke back when I was with the Twins. Guys like that were into it when they weren't pitching. I played with guys that were into it when they were pitching, but the guys that were like into it when they weren't pitching, those are the guys you ride with.
Competitive junkies.
Yes. Ride with those guys.
Mm-hmm. You like that, Kratz?
Cliffley was the exact same way. I mean, he was kind of an ass when he was pitching too. Like he was kind of that old style where it was like some dude makes an error and he just airs him out, that kind of thing. But on the bench, those dudes are arguing for your team. They're just all the time competitive. I agree, AJ. Those are the dudes you want to ride with.
It's a great piece of video.
It's so awesome.
Yeah.
Next time we have Max on, we're going to have to show him that and be like, did you even remember doing this? Or did you just black out?
You possessed.
Will Ferrell and Old School when he did the debate.
They should have I like that. They should have a Max cam. Because if you follow him on non-game days.
I want to know how many steps he gets in. I know he can't have a phone, but I want to know how many steps he gets in.
Let's go.
Hey, we're back, and so is Aaron Gleeman. What's old is new again. So Aaron covers the Twins, as you all know. He's been on with us quite a bit. Covers the Twins for The Athletic, also Gleeman and The Geek, the great podcast covering the Minnesota Twins. He's already done plenty on this topic, but now it is time. It is a World Series off day. Aaron, good to see you, and let's get your initial thoughts on Derek Shelton returning to the team after previously being on the coaching staff with Rocco Baldelli and being the next manager of Minnesota.
I mean, I think it's sort of predictable. I think this is sort of the moment they fired Baldelli, which I think was kind of a long time coming by the time they did it. They weren't going to be able to – I think they were limited by two things. One, they're not going to be able to be a destination that kind of an up-and-coming, in-demand manager is going to want to come to. Like if there was any other team interested in someone, they have an edge over the Twins from a monetary standpoint, from a competitiveness standpoint, but then also – it's not clear to me that they're planning to be competitive in 2026. Like we asked Derek Falvey at the end of the season about payroll or about the plan for next season, and he kind of tap danced around it and said he has to talk to ownership and see what their kind of view of it is. And so that's going to limit you in terms of who you can bring in as a manager. So you add all that up, and the familiarity, like you said, not only was Shelton on Baldelli's staff as the bench coach in 2019, which is one of the most successful seasons the Twins have had. He was actually the year before that on Molitor's staff before they fired Paul Molitor and replaced him with Baldelli. And he finished if not runner-up, he was one of the finalists in 2019 when the job went to Baldelli. So the level of familiarity that they have with Shelton, and he's a very well-liked guy across baseball, as far as I've been told. And I think within the Twins, too, they're just very comfortable. Now, my question would be, why are you kind of leaning into familiarity and the status quo at a time when the organization as a whole is trending very quickly in a bad direction?
Aaron, I mean, this sounds like Baldelli part two. I love Rocco and I love Derek Shelton. I know Derek Shelton for a long, long time, and I think he's a great guy. But he just got fired by the Pirates. Okay, no, not a knock on him, but he got fired by the Pirates not that long ago because he wasn't doing the right thing to help them develop to the next level. The Twins are going to be a younger-ish team more than likely because they're going to slash payroll. It's what the Pohlads do, right? So why would they not go for a younger, more energetic? Not that Shelton doesn't have energy and all that. Why would they not go? I mean, for somebody that they think might be, that's been around. I don't know. I'm thinking the name like a Kai Correa, something like that, right? The guy that has been around, but they're a little bit younger and they've never been a manager. Right, this just seems like they're just retreading Rocco Part 2.
I mean, I agree with that. I think it's a very tough argument to make against that. Like the familiarity, he's literally one of Baldelli's friends. He was his right-hand man. And that the thing you said about the Pirates, like I don't know, the Pirates have been bad for so long, and they're in such a difficult spot because of the lack of investment from ownership that I'm willing to kind of say, like, okay, he had a terrible record with the Pirates. Who hasn't had a terrible record with the Pirates? But the problem is that the Twins are, trending in that direction too. I mean, like you said, they're cutting payroll even further. They've traded away a bunch of their guys. They might still end up trading away someone like Joe Ryan, Pablo Lopez, Ryan Jeffers, and lean even more into kind of bare bones spending with a younger team. And it's nothing against Derek Shelton, but I do agree with what you're saying is like, they're checking the box and they're able to say, hey, we made a change. But this is about as close to no change as you can get with literally making a change. Like you're bringing a guy back in who is a retread manager, who has one of the lower winning percentages in baseball history for someone who I think he managed 700 and something games for the Pirates. So you can't even say he's had success elsewhere. I would have certainly leaned into kind of what you were describing is try to find the next good manager, like someone who's in their 30s, maybe recently retired or has sort of risen up the ranks quickly. But I wonder from that perspective if they're viewing this more as like a placeholder, like we're just sort of treading water organizationally, and why try to bring in an up-and-comer and hand them a roster that's just not equipped to contend, and that kind of gets that stink on them right away, whereas, this is going to sound mean, but Derek Shelton is used to losing. And he is not a guy who's going to, cause big problems. He's going to deal well with not only ownership, but the front office and the players. He's not going to, cause big issues that way. And if they view him as just sort of a steady hand to get them through what might be 1, 2, maybe 3 difficult years, I sort of see their thinking on that, but it's definitely underwhelming.
How do they sell this to the fans? You're already talking about a fan base who lost, I think you'll tell me if I'm wrong, 9 guys at the trade deadline, and you already talked about the other guys that have a chance of possibly being moved. How do they sell this to the fans? Because all the things that you said are probably correct, but you can't sell it to the fans. Hey, welcome to Minnesota. We have our new manager, Derek Shelton. Hasn't really won much. He's probably getting paid way less than everybody else that's a manager that's getting new managerial jobs. And we're just going to try to tread water. But how does a team sell it to the fans? Because this is a time to invigorate the fans.
There's no way to sell this to the fans. I mean, they're so far past that point. I mean, I agree with you for sure. But, I mean, the truth is, is there even a manager out there that they could have hired that could be sold to the fans and get people excited? I mean, I joked when we did our kind of emergency podcast last night reacting to the news. I said, what if some crazy happened and Dave Roberts, they lose the World Series and he gets fired and the Twins hire him? That'd be more exciting to the fan base than Derek Shelton in that weird, crazy scenario. But it's not like people are going to be rushing to the ticket office. I mean, the fan morale has gotten so low, and they have such little faith in every level of this organization. I mean, ownership, obviously, we talk about that every time I'm on, but the front office, the coaching staff, the player development, the players themselves, that I agree with what you're saying is this is underwhelming within that context. But I wonder from their standpoint, if they were like, there isn't a move we could make. There is no living manager who we could realistically get that would really raise fan morale. And so why not, if that's the case, if it's already rock bottom, why not just bring in a guy we know and we like? And like AJ said, this is not intended to take anything away from Derek Shelton. My interactions with Shelton have always been good. Everyone I've talked to about him over the years speaks really highly of him, not only as a person, but as a, someone who's smart and hardworking, attention to detail, all the things you would look for in a manager. And I'm willing to believe the Pirates thing, he can learn from that and he can be a solid manager. I just wonder, are they in a place as a team from the top bottom that the manager's even going to really be in a position to matter at this point?
So many good answers here from you, Aaron. Like when you talked about the placeholder part, literally where I was going with my question, and I'll add on here. So I'll take a different turn to actually put my opinion down. I like it. I like the hire. I like it for what the placeholder part is. I like it because it's someone who's well-liked. He's safe. He's nice. We know that he's a respectable guy. He has manager experience, and he's going to go to Minnesota and be like, this is a massive upgrade. There is a lot more talent in terms of the way that the team is run. I'm sorry, right? Like I'll lay it out here. Derek Falvey and company, right? The group that he leads, they've done a really good job with limited resources, and you can't fire the owner. So Rocco gets booted because the team is crumbling, because the owner wanted to sell, and he's kind of tanking the place. Don't worry, Minnesota, retraction is not going to happen. Eventually, this will get better. It's just going to take more time. But he got fired by the Pirates, and he is a hard worker. He is probably the most motivated person on the planet to get an opportunity like this and take a team that's probably going to be pegged to win, 70 games next year and get them to 80 and be like, oh, wow, this team has like nothing. They didn't do anything in the offseason. They kind of tanked it just like they did the trade deadline, and kind of did a good job. I could see a scenario like that where he's on a personal mission to be like, no, it wasn't me. The Pirates are the number one joke in the league. So now I'm going to a team that's more like in the 5 to 7 range.
I mean, that is true. If they were sitting in an office a few weeks ago and they were like, is there someone we can hire who has experience managing in the majors for like 5+ seasons, but in a worse situation than the one they would be in here? He's like the guy for that. I mean, they've had like the 28th ranked payroll. So like you said, he's coming to a place that might now have like, the 24th ranked payroll. And to him, that's like amazing. And, I've gotten questions from people who are like, does Shelton even know what he's getting into? Like, why would he even take? I mean, the truth is there are good jobs and there are bad jobs, but ultimately there are only 30 of these things. And people work their whole lives to get this. And to your point, I'm sure he's not enthused or happy with how it went in Pittsburgh. But he wasn't in position to turn down that job 6 years ago. And if he wants to manage again, and like you said, if he wants to prove that he's better than he showed in Pittsburgh, if he's capable of raising a team from 70 wins to, borderline competitiveness, this is probably his best and maybe only opportunity. So I see it from that perspective. But yeah, you're definitely right. I mean, he could walk in the door here, and I don't want to be too harsh on for Pirates fans listening to this because I don't know the inner workings of the Pirates, but it's one of the few situations where you could take someone from the place they've been, bring them to a team in decline with a very low payroll, and have them walk in the door on day one and kind of look around and go, actually, this is kind of nice compared to where I just was.
Aaron, does this just show that guys just want to be managers? Because I look at Anaheim, Kurt Suzuki took a 1-year deal, right?
Yep.
Derek Shelton probably knows this team's not going to be competitive, but he just wants to manage this. And is this what managing has become? It's just guys that just, gosh, I just have to manage no matter what, and I got to do this. I did it once, and I got to do it again. And I know this team isn't going to be great, but who cares? I'm the manager of the Minnesota Twins.
I mean, if you want to be a manager, and like what are the? I mean, he's 55. And it's possible that Shelton could have taken a bench coach job or hitting coach job somewhere and kind of rehabbed his stock as a manager candidate. And maybe 2 cycles from now, 2 off seasons from now, he gets another opportunity. But that's not set in stone. And, we talked about the Twins' familiarity with him. The truth is he's familiar with them too. He knows Derek Falvey. He knows a lot of the people involved. He knows some of the players who are still there, not a ton of them, but like Byron Buxton, let's say. And from his perspective, if he wants to manage and he wants to manage this year or next year, this is probably his only opportunity. And he doesn't know what the future holds in that regard. And, like I said, there's 30 of these things. And there's going to be people who would, kill to have these jobs. And you add in the extra motivation where he took that job and was, I'm sure, very excited to get his first managing gig in 2020 with the Pirates, and it goes, south pretty quickly. And now he wants to show that he can do it. Yes, it's a tough spot, but if you want to be a major league manager and you're not like, Albert Pujols, let's say, where just your name recognition alone and what you've done as a player just opens doors for you, you're going to have kind of limited opportunities, and you're going to have to take what's offered to you. And I think it's a very difficult spot. On the other hand, if they go 81-81 next year, he might get some manager of the year votes just because no one expects them to do absolutely anything, particularly if the offseason plays out kind of how I expect it will, which is some more trades of veterans.
Bingo. And that's what I want to get to next. So 2 fan questions here. One I think is a quicker one. I'll just ask you quick and then I'll get you my next one. So Ryan asked, was Torrey Hunter considered? Do you know? Did you hear about him specifically?
So my understanding is that he never formally interviewed. He has been more on the Angels side than the Twins side, although I've seen Torrey over the last few years in the clubhouse and around the Twins a little bit. I don't know if it was his lack of interest, their lack of interest, both. But yeah, he was never, I don't think, viewed as a serious candidate, or at the very least, he never was part of the formal interview process.
Okay. And then last one, which is a lengthier question. Armand asks, percentage chance of them trading Joe Ryan, Pablo Lopez, and Byron Buxton. And if you can, mix in one of your latest articles about some specific needs they have, which will be very telling in terms of if the poll ads give any sense about this team at all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Buxton's got the full no trade clause. And he's been pretty steadfast in his loyalty to the Twins. He says, there was a reason I requested the no trade clause. I want to finish my career here. My family likes it here. I do wonder at some point, he's shown incredible loyalty to them, but everyone's got a limit. And if they keep shedding payroll and shedding talent and just go into a multi-year rebuild, he's going to be 32 next year. Does he, does his loyalty change at all? Or is he just so steadfast in wanting to remain with the Twins? I think that's an interesting question. He's always answered it. I don't want to go anywhere, but who knows if that changes. In terms of Ryan and Lopez, I'm of the opinion since the trade deadline that that's just inevitable. To me, you don't do what they did at the trade deadline in terms of trading players, trading talent, shedding future salaries, and then stop in the middle. And, Pablo Lopez in particular is going to make $21.5 million for each of the next 2 years, and they might only have a $110 million payroll. And the team, are you wasting sort of the 2 years, valuable years of a frontline starter, and particularly with Joe Ryan, who's going to be even cheaper and is coming off an all-star year? If you've already done half of the rebuild, if you've already done half of a fire sale, I just have a hard time assuming that they're going to halt it at that point. And then, like you said, I wrote a couple days ago, the Lopez and Ryan situations, if they trade them, obviously they're not trying to be competitive in 2026 or probably 2027. But even on a smaller scale, they just have these gaping roster holes, which is as a result of the fire sale. They have no bullpen whatsoever. They traded their top 5 relievers. If you look at their first base DH situations, which is the easiest spot to find a big veteran bat, they have nothing. I mean, Cody Clemens was their first baseman down the stretch, and I'm not trying to be mean to him, but he was a waiver claim, and he's kind of a bounce around guy. And they need a backup. They need a backup catcher, and if they trade Jeffers too, then they just need catcher. Period. They might have to get AJ out of retirement. Now that I think about it, but
let's do it.
Yeah. How's knees, AJ?
Great. Let's do it. I'll play tomorrow. Let's go.
Could you do 18 innings in a World Series game if you had to right now?
Come on, bro.
Next morning might be kind of bad.
That's clown question.
Clown question.
I would personally like to see it. But those are the real tells, which is, are they even going to kind of address the obvious weaknesses of this roster? Because if they don't at least go out and get 2 or 3 veteran relievers, that is basically waving a sign that says we don't care about next season. If they don't find some veteran bat to play first base and maybe DH to jump into the middle of a lineup that has really struggled for a year and a half now, that is another sign that they just are worried about getting the payroll low, shedding talent. And so the Lopez and Ryan situations are the big ones. Those are the headliners. That'll tell you everything. I mean, no team that expects to contend trades frontline starters under team control like that. But even lower on the scale than that, I think the bullpen is going to be the biggest tell. Like, they have no bullpen basically at this point. And if they're not at least willing to go spend 10, 15 million to add 2 or 3 kind of setup caliber veteran arms, that is essentially telling the fan base we don't care at all about next season.
Okay, I was a Twin. I was a Twin in the late 90s, early 2000s when there was literally 500 people at the Metrodome, okay, for day games against teams. And the Twins fans have been great at Target Field. Target Field's one of my favorite ballparks I ever played in. We were close to being contracted in 2002. They did an Expos documentary. They didn't mention the Twins were with the Expos going to be contracted. Then we saved baseball, made the playoffs, whatever, made our run. Twins got their new stadium. But there's been one constant here, and it's the Pohlad family, okay? They were supposed to be selling the team. Will they ever sell it? What has a better chance of happening first? The Pohlads sell the team, the Twins get contracted, or they win a World Series. Which one of those 3 things will happen first? Because the Pohlads I thought were selling, and then all of a sudden, nah, we're just kidding, guys. We really want this team.
Yeah, and I mean, that's when I said that the fan morale was rock bottom. That's the final thing that pushed it to rock bottom, which they kind of held that carrot out in front of the fan base for 10 months of, hey, we're trying to sell the team, only to at the end of, right after the fire sale, when everyone was sad about that and frustrated about that, they said, oh, we're pulling it back off the market. We actually think we're the people to run it. And, to your point, they've been running it as a family for 4 decades or basically. So I don't think there's going to be anything to change the fan morale in a meaningful way, to change their chances of really making a deep playoff run or winning a World Series. Like you said, as long as they are owned by the Pohlads, I just truly believe that nothing will change. And they've just done nothing to make anyone think otherwise. And so it's frustrating. The only bit of optimism I can point to, and this is just me speculating, is maybe they pulled it off the market because they couldn't get the premium price that they were asking for. And they're viewing the next CBA as a lifeline there in terms of if there's, more revenue sharing, or if there's a salary cap, or anything that really causes a mid to low tier payroll team or revenue team like the Twins to be in a better situation than they are now in terms of competitiveness and revenues, then maybe they could revisit the sale, 2 years from now, let's say, and there will be buyers more willing to give them the price that they need. But short of that, I mean, I hate to say this because, my livelihood revolves around Twins fans being interested in coverage of the team. But I just have gotten to the point now where I think as long as the Pohlads are running things, it's going to be business as usual that we've seen from them for the most part for decades and decades. And I think the reason it's trending in the wrong direction is that they're no longer even comfortable being kind of an average spending team. Now they want to be in the bottom third because in their mind, that's a lot easier to not lose money by cutting costs versus not lose money by actually putting a good product on the field.
And what you said, it's exactly what's going to happen. They want to sell the team. They probably were told by advisors, you might make $200 million more, the price that they initially wanted. That's where they were off if they wait until after the CBA. Even if it's not a cap, they're waiting. They're going to get something from their group, right? Like you mentioned, revenue sharing. So I'm with you. Twins fans, hang in there. Aaron is there for you on The Athletic, on his pod. You're the best. Thanks, Aaron.
Anytime, guys. Thank you.
All right, FT fam, we'll be right back. Another manager hire. This one's 33 years old by the Nats. Coming up. It's FT presented by Fox One. Do you love the Halloween decorations?
I'm not a huge Halloween person.
I'm not either, but I like it on our show.
I'll give Claude her due. She's done a nice job with the Halloween. And I can't wait because you guys told me you're all dressing up tomorrow, so I can't wait to see what y'all
I don't
dress
know
up
about
as.
me.
No, I heard it on the phone call, production call.
I don't know if
Kratz said he's got a great costume, and Scott said he's just going to dress up like he does on any other day and look the same.
Right.
So, and then also behind the scenes, people are supposed to dress up too.
That's fine. I would be okay with that on the pre and post-production calls. Anyway, this show is presented by Fox One. 7-day free trial today, fox1.com. QR code is right there. You watched the game.
Think about what you can get in the next 7 days. Deciding games of the World Series, big noon. Penn State was supposed to be good, and they sucked. They fired their coach at Ohio State, and the other college football games.
Ohio State still has to win games like that, though.
And then NFL Sunday, plus all the new shows they have coming out, The Floor and 99 to 1 or whatever that. I think it's called 99 to 1
the one with Aaron Andrews.
99 to win. Aaron Andrews and Ken Jeong.
Yeah.
Right? That show's
That's
hilarious.
a funny combo.
It is a funny combo. It's hilarious, too, if you watched it. And you get it in the next – that's your free trial. That's a pretty good time to pick up that free trial.
That is pretty damn good. So check it out. And then also, while we have a quick moment here, 1 minute to go until the TV crowd returns.
Nailed.
Alan Porter
just
in the
World Series
last night.
Yeah, but see,
the plate.
Dodger fans are going to say, look, he was 0.311 runs for Toronto. That's why they won. No, they won because Trey Yesavage has disgusting stuff.
There were some pitches down in the zone where he nailed it too. Max, who can be a home plate ump if he wanted, thought he had ball 4. He did it. You saw that, right?
Yeah, when I get to we get to our locks from yesterday, which I won. I do have one beef with the umpires, though.
You do?
We'll talk about it. We'll have a therapy session.
Okay. But I just want to clap it up for Alan Porter.
Yeah, great job. He was great in the division. He did the 15-inning game I did. He was really good in that game, too.
If every ump was Alan Porter, people would be happier.
Yeah. They all try to be.
Every ump is not like Alan Porter. Just like every player is not Shohei Ohtani. Reward that man. Reward Shohei Ohtani for being the best player in the game. Reward Alan Porter for consistently having the best scores if he does it over, a year's span. Just pay that man his money.
Corner, and it's breaking news right before the show. There were so many manager openings, and they're filling up fast, especially on a World Series off day. Jeff Passan reporting the Nats finalizing a deal to hire Blake Butera as manager. He's 33 years old. He will be the youngest manager in Major League Baseball in more than 50 years. 4 seasons as a minor league manager in the Rays organization. His teams had a 258 and 144 record. His first season as manager in that organization, he was 25 years old. Is this a kid prodigy who's now up to the show? And then he updates the managerial carousel so far and says how there are a few positions left, including Atlanta, San Diego, and Colorado. Oh, and also how 2 of the 6 that have been filled so far have Major League Manager experience. 4 do not.
No. I don't even. I mean, Kratz, maybe you know that, maybe, but I love that they are like his managerial record in the minor league was this. Who cares? That A has nothing to do with B. But this is my thing. The new GM in Washington wanted somebody he probably knows. He wanted somebody he could get for fairly cheap, and he wanted somebody he could have conversations with about control and how to do things. Boom, boom, boom. And the third thing. They wanted somebody from the Rays because every organization wants to be the Rays. So this guy, he worked for the Rays for 2 years. Let's hire him. But so then my next question is: we just had Aaron Gleeman on talking about Derek Shelton and why they hired him. The Nationals, are they going to try and compete, or are they going back to we're going to rebuild? Because most teams that are trying to compete want a veteran, experienced manager, right? And teams that are trying to rebuild hire the younger guy to try to build and learn with the team. And then if they're there long enough and they get good. We've seen it all over the place. They fire the young guy and bring in the veteran guy to try to get him over the hump.
I can tell you what's going on.
Okay, tell me.
So the ownership group definitely wants to sell the team. They haven't gotten the price they want. They're doing the same thing.
That sounds just like the Twins. Are we talking Twins or Nats?
It's basically the same thing. Are they competing? No, they're not going to be big spenders in the offseason, which is a surprise to many. But last year was the year, and everyone was like, oh, wait, no. So they're not for real. They're for sale. They are definitely for sale.
Okay.
Like right now, if you gave them the price they wanted, they would sell the team tonight. But they're not going to get it until after the CBA, and that's when franchise values will change. So in the meantime, they're not rebuilding. They're definitely not competing during the offseason. They're still building. I would call this team, Kratz, still building, because they have some nice pieces that they would like to work on developing. That's why they bring a player development guy in, and then they will continue to try and build, get high draft picks and trade guys away when they get close to free agency. Maybe lock up one or two of the players that they have as part of their core where you can get cost control, because that's still good when you're selling a team and you can say, hey, I have these 2 stars. They don't cost much. But that is the Nats in 30 seconds.
All right. There's nothing I can guarantee more than I can guarantee this. A manager in the big leagues has 0% to do with the fact that the Nats cannot produce, outside of their number 1 picks, big league players. Yes, people are going to clap back at me and say Rendon and Trey Turner and Bryce Harper and Steven Strasburg. I'm talking produce them. And if the Nats are hiring him for whatever the reasons, it's easy this way, after the CBA, sales, all that stuff, if they're hiring him because of his player development stuff, hire him in a player development role, not necessarily to be the manager, because I don't know how he's going to be as a manager. Maybe he's a great dude. Maybe he is really able to connect with the players, and the Nats continue to be 3rd, 4th, 5th in the National League East. But to me, don't hire him because you're gonna enhance the player development. He's gonna have maybe 3 meetings at the beginning before the season starts about player development. Player development is a day-to-day thing that has to be done on boots on the ground type of thing in that role. As a big league manager, you have 0 control over player development. You are getting them in the big leagues, and you're helping them develop once they're in there to be good big league baseball players, but they are 2 separate entities, the manager and player development.
Yeah, but this is a thing right now. Things get sexy, right? I'm going to bring the college coach into...
This is what it is. That's what I said.
Well, do you think
And also, by the way, the record, like when people are like, oh, he had this record in the minor leagues. You know this, Kratz. In the minor leagues, you're told what bullpen guy to bring in when. You're told who to pitch, who has to play, who sits. In the big leagues, most teams don't do that. You have to make those decisions on the fly. Now, do they have a script? Yes. But in the minor leagues, it's literally, hey, this guy has to get an inning today no matter what. This guy has to do this. This guy has to do this. In the big leagues, you're trying to win you're supposed to be trying to win every game. Now, do you? That's the question. You can argue that point. But in the big leagues, like, we have no idea he could be the best manager of all time. We have no idea.
I have a question. Guys get called up sooner than ever now, right?
Yes.
Do you think this is a response to that? Hey, we're getting players up to the show that need to continue to develop more than they used to.
Would you rather have them learn from a guy? This is always my argument. This is not a knock. In both ways, I see it from both ways. Would you rather have a manager that's been around and he's been through situations and can actually talk guys through situations? Or would you have a guy that, hey, I can develop you and get you ready for the big leagues, but I've never been there, right? This is why the Vitello hiring and this is why this hiring are so intriguing to me, because who they bring along with them, who their coaching staff is, because they're going to need people that have been there and done that to talk to some of these players about what it's actually like. We had this conversation about the playoffs of the Blue Jays. Until you've lived it, you can't explain it to somebody. Until you've done it, you can't explain it. So this manager cycle has been fascinating, because there's all these guys that haven't really done it, and they've never been managers or coaches at the big league level. So I wish them all luck. We'll see how it goes. But for the most part, this guy doesn't work out.
Right. This situation.
Give me an
This
example
hire
where it
hasn't
did.
worked. I
Give me
can't.
an
We
example
tried.
where it
earlier.
did.
Yeah.
And I am not, believe me, you've heard all my conspiracies. I love thinking outside the box. I love, well, why is this going to work? What does he do that's going to bring a Nats team to the brink of the playoffs, to, enhance their season by 10 wins? What is an example previously? Because if you go too far outside the box, you're not even participating in what's going on in the box that everyone else is in. I need an example of why this will work, or like where it has worked before. And people will say, well, Theo Epstein was the youngest general manager ever, and look what he's done. You're right. Absolutely. I'm not talking about the youth. I'm talking about the overall package of inexperience and the youth and just the respect level of what he's jumping into.
So we'll continue this topic.
Have to monitor it.
Sam Blum is going to join us next, writing for The Athletic on the most interesting team in October, the Angels.
Not in the World Series.
October is when we don't talk about the Angels.
Till now. This episode of FT is brought to you by Huel. Cheers.
Cheers.
We got a new Huel edition here, the Daily Greens. I've got blueberry, lemon, and thyme. You've got?
I got myself peach and hibiscus. I love peach. This is delicious. Fuel for the go, man. And this is really good for your body. It's really good for your systems. Anything that has greens in it, especially from Huel, is pretty fantastic. This will get you going, a little energy, a little boost, and keep your insides feeling well too.
Yeah, developed by registered nutritionists and dietitians. Few vitamins, minerals, and superfoods. Only 25 calories, 4 grams of fiber, only 1 gram of sugar. That's the goods. Of course, we still love the Huel Black Edition. I got chocolate peanut butter. How you doing?
Strawberry banana is delicious.
Let's go. Huel makes healthy eating simple. They also just launched into Target stores nationwide. Try both products today with 15% off your purchase for new customers with the exclusive code FOUL at Huel.com/foul. Use that code and fill out the post-checkout survey to help support the show. Clayton Kershaw, this is David Vassay writing about this. Kershaw made the walk from bullpen to dugout after the last out. This was the last game for Clayton at Dodger Stadium. In his career, he was on the field after the game, playing catch with his son, waving to his fam. This is it.
That's it. Never be on Dodger Stadium again as a player. Maybe as a coach, maybe as throwing out the first pitch at the World Series.
Yeah, a million.
But not as a player. And he made this decision, and good for him. He made the decision that he feels is right for him and his family. So take it all in. It sucks they lost for him. I mean, not for the Blue Jays, but it sucks that they lost. It would have imagine if they would have won and this would have been his way out. It would have been really awesome. But they didn't.
He still might win.
No, I know, but I mean at Dodger Stadium.
Right.
Right. That would have been the ultimate way to go out. But it didn't work out. But he got to enjoy it, and there's videos of him with his kids and taking pictures of the ground crew and all that. Good for you, Clayton.
They won the game he pitched in.
Good for you, Clayton.
Yeah. He had a moment.
Very few,
like they said.
Very few guys are able to go out knowing like this is the last time they step on the field. So good for him. I went out in the COVID season, and I remember walking across the field. Petco. We just lost to the Rays at Petco. They were celebrating on the field. And there was no fans in the stands except for my kids and my wife. So I understand what he feels because you know that's the last time you're going to be on the field. And I hope it looks like from the pictures, he's happy. That's all you can ask of anybody when they're done playing.
Hardest working man in baseball right now, Sam Blum, joins us writing for The Athletic, covering the Angels, among other topics. Sam, great to see you, and we'll get to the crazy court case that's been going on and your awesome coverage of it. Let's just start nice and simple. Kurt Suzuki, 1-year contract. First thoughts?
I mean, my first thought is it doesn't really matter who the manager is if you're going to give someone a 1-year deal. And it makes me wonder to some extent if that's what they were offering Albert Pujols and Torrey Hunter and why those pursuits didn't pan out. Again, I just don't know how relevant it is that who their manager is if it's going to be a 1-year deal. I think it's embarrassing. I mean, this you're putting a guy who's never managed before, which is already a really tough spot to be in an even tougher spot by giving him basically we just won 72 games and now you got to go figure it out on a 1-year deal. So we don't really believe in you. We don't really see you as a long-term guy, but here's a flyer to see if you can pull off a miracle. And if not, then, we'll just do this again next year with somebody else. And so my initial takeaway is it's pretty clear that this is lockout, anxiety or driven or whatever it is, because I don't think Artie wants to be paying a manager when that lockout begins, which seems pretty inevitable at the beginning of December of next year. So that's kind of the way I look at it. And I also look at it as this is Perry's last shot too. I mean, he's on a 1-year deal. I think that's the only positive in this is that if you were to hire an Albert Pujols on a 4 or 5 year contract and you have a guy like Perry as a lame duck GM, I mean, you're basically cutting him out of the whole process. You're basically just making Albert the GM and giving him the the keys to the castle and the direct line to Artie. So everything with this organization is always very dysfunctional. This is no different. But the 1 year deal is just you're just punting the season before it begins. It's, as far as I'm aware. Listen, they could pull off a miracle. I'm always waiting for someone to come and clip one of my comments on this show when they actually pull it off and are good. But I don't believe in it. I don't think it's good process, and I don't think it's going to lead to good results. And especially someone like Kurt, who's really young, who most of the guys on this team, or a lot of the guys on this team, were teammates with him on the Angels or elsewhere. It's just a weird dynamic to step into on a 1 year deal.
Sam, you can write into the contract, by the way, you don't get paid during a lockout for coaches. And there are teams that paid their people and teams that didn't. So I don't know that I necessarily agree with that. My bigger question is Suzuki just wanted to be a big league manager that badly? Because I can't believe that he went into this as a former player. And I know he had the quote, I was on 1 year deals my whole career. But, gosh, he knows going into this, Perry's on a 1 year deal. I'm going to take a 1 year deal because if something happens with Perry, then I'm kind of his guy and I'm gone too. I don't know. It just seems the whole thing is just crazy that somebody would take a 1 year deal to be a manager. I guess managing is that much fun.
I guess. There's only 30 of these jobs. So it's like that, I think, that is kind of what the Angels rely on, right? That they are one of 30 still. And so that is always going to be lucrative and interesting to people. I'm sure Kurt is probably thinking, I want to be a big league manager someday. So if this is the way in, and I don't know if he thinks that that's going to be long term with the Angels, or if he thinks that's going to, this maybe leads to, a lot of people that work for the Angels end up going and having a lot of success elsewhere. And so that might be kind of what he's thinking. You get your foot in the door, you become, someone that people can at least evaluate in the role, and maybe you end up performing well as a manager elsewhere. Because it's like these chances, if you don't take them when they come, that you might never get them. So. If I had to guess, that's kind of was the incentive to do this, and probably why they weren't able to land, one of those bigger names that they were certainly going after earlier on in the process. So, in terms of the lockout, I think that I don't know if it's Perry related. It's it's not the kind of thing Artie's going to come out and talk about. But the timing of it just I don't know exactly. Again, it's hard to pinpoint exactly why they decided to go on a 1 year deal or why it was so important for the Angels. But this does not happen. This isn't something that the Angels are one of 10 teams, or there are 20 other examples of this. I think the most recent example, and really the only other one that I know of, is Dusty Baker signing a 1 year deal with an option in 2020 in a much different scenario when he was taking over, during that scandal, and he was also 70 years old at the time, and ended up, I think, getting the option picked up almost immediately anyway, so it didn't really matter. I don't think that will be the case here unless the Angels start out red hot.
Sam, easiest question I'll ever ask you. Do you have air conditioning where you are?
Yeah, and it's on way too often, I will say.
Okay, that sounds like a better answer than you got from Perry Managian. Can you explain what you learned from the not cryptic answers, but the sidestepping answers about the amenities and everything that kind of happened surrounding that back and forth that you had with Perry, which you kindly blessed us all with?
Thank you. Yeah, listen, that's not a new type of interaction with Perry. That is kind of how he responds to questions he doesn't really want to answer, which is typically a little bit indignant. And, why are you asking? He always says that's a question for somebody else, which I don't agree with. I know who I'm asking the question to, and I don't understand why he always tries to tell me it's for somebody else. But that's his prerogative. He doesn't. I think this is the reason I put it out there is I think it's reflective of issues with the Angels and the way that they go about it, the way Perry goes about it in particular, which is to you're not looking inward. If you're not willing to listen to your player who's saying that there's an issue here, and you're just saying the air conditioning is great, very cold, rubbing your arms and smiling about it, it just to me is not the right response to something like that. And I think you see the response to that interaction, the way people looked at it. I think fans agree with me on that, which is that this is not just about air conditioning in your weight room. This is about amenities, which Kevin Pillar on your program obviously brought up and was I think was helpful in being able to kind of press Perry, because it wasn't just one player. It was a longtime veteran of the game who's played for many teams, much like Kikuchi has as well. So yeah, to me, it's just if you're not willing to look inward at the problems and ask yourself why have I as a GM gone 77 and 85, 73 and 89, 73 and 89 again, 63 and 99, and then 72 and 90 in my 5 years as a GM. you're not willing to ask those questions, which it doesn't always feel like they are willing to ask those questions, then I think you're going to go and look at the same record again next year and the year after that, and as long as you're in that job. So, I think it was reflective of larger issues, and we saw that they obviously posted a job for an HVAC technician on that day. I don't know if somebody mentioned to me that they were reposting it that day, which is interesting to me, but I don't know exactly. I have no real insider information as to if that interaction led to them posting that job, but you can make the assumption if you want.
Hey, listen, first of all, the HVAC thing was awesome that it just happened to coincide with that. And then the other thing was Perry was a clubhouse guy. He was a clubhouse guy, so he should know that the players need air conditioning. He was down in the clubhouse grinding in Texas for years, right? So he should have an HVAC guy on speed dial. And if the players complain, as a former clubhouse guy, there shouldn't be a question about it. He should be like, yes, whatever you want, because most clubhouse guys don't tell players no, because then they don't get a tip.
Yeah, and I mean, from all I understand, I think the Angels clubbies this is not on them, right? Like, this is on the organization.
I never said that. I said Perry was a former clubhouse guy. It was more of a charge. Oh, well, I'm just saying, I'm saying Perry, the clubhouse people in Anaheim have always been awesome. But what I'm saying is Perry is a former clubhouse guy. When a player complains about something, they usually say, yes, how do I fix this? Or how do I get this done? Whatever it is.
But he asks his boss if he can do it.
Yeah, no, I'm not complaining about the Angels clubhouse people at all. I'm just saying Perry should know, yes, you say, Kikuchi, if you want air conditioning, tomorrow it'll be 42 degrees when you walk in. You have to wear a damn parka.
And the thing is, I mean, listen, what I think is kind of lost in this is this was the last game of the season for Kikuchi when he exited after 5, I believe, scoreless innings, and in the middle of his outing because he had cramps, and he said that this was why he had to leave. And you look at how much money does any team pay per win, right? Like millions of dollars, like that. I believe the Angels went on to lose that game, and irrelevant. Ultimately, I think it was against the Royals, and both teams were out of it in the last week of the season. But you're paying millions of dollars per win. How much is the extra $500 to fix your air conditioning? Which clearly looked like it may have been the difference between a win and a loss that night. So, I have to go check and make sure that they lost. I know they lost 2 out of 3 that series, but it's just, to me, like, this is why you lose games. It's not always how much you're spending in free agency. People always wonder. I mean, Artie's got a pretty decent payroll, at least he used to. Why do they keep losing? And it's because they don't do these things, right? Like, it's because they won't get air conditioning for their players. It's because it's not a good environment. I mean, I struggle to see how players really like being there. I know that was part of the interaction I had with Perry was like, well, he likes the environment here. It's not really the question, but I also do think it's relevant here. I mean, I don't, if you're a free agent reading that interaction, if you're an agent with clients reading that interaction, I mean, who wants to go play for that? I wouldn't. I mean, and I certainly can't even play baseball. It wouldn't be my first choice.
I thought we were moving in the right direction. They got rid of the tent in spring training for the weight room. And I know this is an Artie Moreno thing, but does the organization, and maybe it's Artie Moreno completely, do they not see what other organizations do? People are going to always look, they're just only going to look at the Dodgers and say, oh, they spend all this money on this stuff. The Dodgers 10 years ago, when I played against them in 2015 in the minor leagues, were clearing out minor league clubhouses, bringing in all their own organic food, all their own fruits and vegetables for the players and taking care of their food. That was 10 years ago that they were starting to build their minor league system. If the Angels aren't doing that, they're not just 10 years behind. They're more than that because the best organizations are already doing that. Are they not moving in the right direction, or are there little things, because it can't all happen in 1 year? And I thought those little things started with the new weight room in spring training.
Yeah, they added the pitching and hitting lab out there, and the players raved about that. Said it was better than they'd had at other organizations that they played for. But I think that when you look at a big picture, the way that they operate, that's one thing, and they continuously kind of point back to that as if like that's the only thing that they needed. And I don't think that they're really moving in the right direction, and I think it's the opposite. I mean, that's a good example of something they've done correctly, but I think the amenities actually at Angel Stadium continue to lag. And it goes beyond amenities. I think it's you look at the 1-year contract, you look at who you're going to bring in as a coaching staff. I mean, are you going to have cohesiveness between the player development side and the major league side, which was a huge issue this year. To me, like these are the things that they're continuing to lag behind. And, they did one very, very positive thing with what they did in spring training, but I don't think that solved all the issues here, and certainly not when it comes to their amenities at Angel Stadium, which continue to not be as good. And yeah, I mean, on the food front, on the minor league front, like, it's hard for me to say. I haven't investigated all these things fully, but when I did more so in 2021, 2022, the Angels were like 30th out of 30 in terms of how they treated minor league players. And I don't think they're, knowing what I know about the Angels, it does not make me think that they're whole scale moving everything in the right direction. I think that they did something that was good, but it's not necessarily reflective of how the entire operation is running. I mean, I think I don't want to compare the Angels to like the Rockies and the White Sox, at least where they are right now. But I think those weren't one-off seasons, right? Like that was a slow deterioration into becoming the worst teams ever to play the game. I don't know if that's where the Angels are going, but you see the way that they're spending in free agency. You see the choices they're making on their coaching staff. You see some of the complaints that they're getting about amenities. Like, this is a slow decline. I think that, the fact that they lost 99 games 2 years ago is, I think it should be a huge red flag to people that this is just not a good situation right now with the team. Maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe Joe Adell, Zach Neto, some of these younger pitchers that they have, end up really playing well. But again, those guys had really good years this year, and they still were 18 games below 500. There's just not enough depth there, and there's just not a good enough roster, and there's not a good enough system in place to really build a good team. And I don't think there's the interest in doing it, honestly. I mean, I see what they, the Kikuchi is the most expensive free agent contract they've signed in the Perry Manassian era, and I just don't really see the priority number one being winning right now. I mean, if it was, I don't how you square the 1 year deal for your manager who's already being put in a tough position as a first year manager. It's just I don't see it, and I don't know if the Angels are going to go in the direction of the White Sox and the Rockies and lose 120 games, but I think if you were to look across baseball and ask yourself which team is most likely to be the next on that list, I don't know how it's not the Angels, just because of all the decisions that are currently being made.
1 year manager contract is despicable. The entire sport should be embarrassed, and we are. Yeah. So next up and last topic here, and I know there's a lot to it. You are doing excellent work covering the court case involving the late Tyler Skaggs and the liability that the organization has for his death. And that is what is being figured out in court right now. It sounds like it's going to take a long time, appeals probably after this, but can you get us caught up on what the current status is? Like, what are the real standouts that people should know if they know nothing about it, and even people like Mike Trout having to show up to court for this?
Yeah, no, it's really interesting court case. I mean, essentially, they're trying to litigate, if the Angels are responsible for Tyler Skaggs' death. And they're doing that the way the Skaggs side, they're the ones currently presenting their case. They're trying to do that by making a lot of examples, showing a lot of examples of Erik K being high at work, allegedly, and the Angels employees knowing about that he was high at work. I think there's a lot of evidence that the Angels employees knew about this. I mean, they're showing a lot of text messages, things that were said in deposition testimony. I think what's interesting is a lot of the Angels represented witnesses who are coming in are, coming in and having to explain why they weren't able to produce text messages that, are appearing on non-Angels represented witnesses' phones, right? Like, they deleted some text messages. They're changing some of their deposition testimony. I try to stay away from analyzing what's happening too much, just because it's not like talking about what you see on the field necessarily, because it's a court case, and the Angels are going to have their chance to put their own case on after the Skaggs side is done. And the Angels are going to try and, basically make Tyler Skaggs out to be a drug addict who had lots of sources of drugs, who, was the driver of this and was just ultimately responsible for his own death. And I think, a reasonable people can look at this in a lot of different ways. I don't think this is a clear-cut thing. I think that's why it's a long trial. There's a lot of nuance to it. Yesterday, one of the interesting things that came up was, how much would Skaggs' potential future value be? They asked Trout about that. They asked Trout if he would have been an all-star in 2019, and Trout says he would have been in the mix. And then, they had an Angels PR person up there yesterday who was kind of going through why, the Angels lawyers were asking him why he wouldn't have been an all-star, why he wasn't that good. So it's, I think there's a lot of interesting elements to it, but I think if you really try to boil it down to what are both sides arguing, the Skaggs side is trying to portray Erik K as the driver of this, that the Angels were aware of his drug use, that he was using drugs, and the Angels are trying to portray Tyler Skaggs as responsible for his own death, and that Erik K drug use was not something that everyone was aware of and was more in the background and would have been not visible to team employees, which I think they're having a hard time arguing, quite frankly, given some of the evidence that we're seeing. But it's a, like I said, it's a living, breathing kind of case, and things evolve, things change, and, we'll kind of see how it develops over the next couple months, which I think this, they said the outermost date for it to end is December 12th, and I'm thinking it might be later than that, just given the pace is really quite slow. But they're off today, so.
And that's why we get you on, which we were happy to do. We were waiting to talk to you about it. Better you than us. You're inside court covering this. Great work, Sam. And for anyone that wants more info, there's a ton. Just Google Sam Blum, The Athletic.
It's a bad look, though. It's just a bad. It's a bad look. It's a bad look.
Oh, of course.
For the organization.
This is going to carry for a long time.
This has been going on for a long. I know. It's just going to continue. It's a shame. It's a shame, man.
It is.
First of all, obviously, the loss of life is a shame. Start with that.
Yeah.
But then the whole thing aftermath. Now family's got to go through it again, and I mean, this is tough, man. This is every time I see this stuff, I'm just like, gosh, I wouldn't want to be going through this.
One last
Mike Trout's up there. Mike Trout's up there on the stand testifying about a former teammate, kind of against his team.
They're asking him if he's good or not. Like if he was.
Yeah,
good
like
if I.
But he have made the All-Star team? Like what?
Who the?
Mike Trout is the only. Mike Trout has a shrine up of Tyler Skaggs next to his locker, and it's really the only memorial of Tyler Skaggs at the ballpark, which did come up in the trial as well from one of the other PR people. But, I think that is something I've taken away from this, outside of everything is, you have a lot of these regular people who are having to come and testify and who are probably under a lot of pressure to say certain things. And it's just really tough. There've been a lot of tears shed in that courtroom in the last, 3 weeks by witnesses, by the family. You feel for them a lot. I feel for Mike Trout because it's like you said, it's really not a easy thing to be asked to do that. And I don't want to put I don't want to criticize the Angels on this front because they're fighting a lawsuit that was brought against them, and I understand they've that right. So, but yeah, it's a tough look, and I think I don't know what the fallout will be once this is all said and done. I think it could be significant.
Of course, we'll have you back as more things happen and come out of that case. Sam, thanks for stopping by. Good to see you. Thanks for doing the work there. I know it's not easy.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, guys. Take care.
You too. This episode is brought to you by Square. Your favorite neighborhood spots run on Square. Square is a proud partner of more than 4 million neighborhood businesses around the world. These businesses are what make the neighborhood the neighborhood. You and I are both in Orlando, and I see Square all the time at those awesome farmers markets around town.
And a lot of restaurants in general just have this to where they have the little thing plugged into their phone and you stick your card in it and wham, bam, we're out. It's cool. It's a way for local businesses to make money and make it easy on not only them, but also on me, the consumer, because Lord knows I'm not making or selling anything.
No, and it's a tap or on your phone, you double click.
You can even insert your chip if you want to, swipe it. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's changed the game. You can go to square.com/go/foul to learn more. But before you do, go support your favorite neighborhood spot. You'll be happy that you did. Again, square.com/go/FOUL to learn more. Square, see you in the neighborhood. Get after it, FT fam. Hey, Katie Wu's doing great reporting on the Cardinals changes under Chaim Bloom. They're making staff changes throughout the org. In addition to expanding the pro scouting department, they will add a director of hitting and an international scouting director, along with multiple support roles. They're kind of filling up some spots that they didn't have because they had to make decisions.
I don't know that Mozeliak didn't want to have this.
No, he wasn't allowed.
That's what I'm saying. So now because Chaim Bloom's there, the DeWitts are now allowing Chaim.
Yeah, they're trying to say, all right, fine, uncle, this didn't work the last few years. Let's bring it back. She said, expect a big emphasis on adding to the player acquisition departments this winter. They plan to add multiple positions and increase funding to pro and international scouting. This won't impact the titles of their current assistant GMs, but it will give them more support. Example A in this case, Trey Yesavage. I heard the scout that was like basically living down in Carolina. I mean, he does. Just attending all his starts, getting to know him, and constantly telling his org, this the guy. We probably won't get him because we're 20th, and we're going to talk about this later, but this is the guy.
But remember,
Cardinals didn't have as much of this.
Two things on this. One, their organizations, remember the money ball, like we don't even need scouts. We just watch them on TV and do the analytics. If you don't have a local scout there grinding and knows the kid and knows his makeup, you don't stand up for this guy. And two, well,
we'll get into it.
Yeah, we need to dig into this a little bit because this kind of fires me up a little bit. And Vlad is batty.
In the weeds, Ken Rosenthal wrote a column about the Dodgers' current run.
By the way,
and
my
I think
hat
it's
doesn't
fascinating.
fit. My hat doesn't fit in
That's
that.
okay.
As
We're
a
going to
note.
work on it. It's
My
Halloween.
hat doesn't fit right.
It's Halloween. Anything goes. So Ken
I should have
wrote-
been the sexy gnome then. Anyways, back to Ken.
Ken wrote, as the Dodgers face elimination, their deficiencies
Easy for you to say.
deficiencies are showing up everywhere. He said, think about
Spell
it. Taking some parts of the article. I talk a lot every day. He said, think about it. If not for historic performances by Yamamoto in Game 2 and Ohtani in Game 3, the Dodgers might not have a win in this series. And he talks about how the position player group is aging. They enter this postseason with 4 aces healthy. How often does that happen where they're all clicking and healthy at the same time? Is this the best chance we'll see?
But
for
this
a long
was the
time?
greatest team ever assembled. Remember? Beginning of the year, everyone, but
We can say that.
I'm
though.
going to say this. Their starting pitching has been really good. The whole year and when they're healthy and
Except
then the
now.
postseason, right? No Kopech, no Gratterall, no Scott, no Tanner Scott,
Vesia.
no Vesia right now. I mean, their bullpen is not what they envisioned it being. And the biggest thing, though, is their offense has gone away. And it wasn't great. We had Joe Davis. It's been gone like this for months. It's not just in the postseason. Now, the Reds, they hammered the Reds. But other than that, there's been no offense. And Mookie Betts, I love Mookie Betts, what he said. He's like, I've been terrible. He owned it. You know what? I respect you, Mookie, for saying that. I played with Mookie when he first came up, and he was great. But I respect the hell out of someone to stand in front of the cameras in a city like Los Angeles in the World Series and say, I've been terrible. I need to figure it out quick. Good for you, Mookie. But their offense has been terrible. Terrible, as Charles Barkley said, terrible.
Terrible. And there are a lot of guys with veteran experience, Kratz, who are getting up there in age. They are.
Probably a little too soon to say the age thing, just because we're not like let's pump the brakes. Maybe once they lose, maybe once they struggle, halfway through the year next year. But this stuff's not going to happen. Like these guys put together at bats consistently as a team. Right now, they're up against it. Every team goes through these struggles. And last year, during this World Series, we wondered, are the Dodgers going to be the team that finally gets everybody, gets over the hump in the playoffs? Because even Jeter was joking about it when he talked to Mookie. Well, it's only really half a World Series win. But now they're supposed to be this dynasty. This is how baseball just ebbs and flows. And their team is built as a solid foundation team. I don't think they're too old. Their starters are going to all come back because they're not going to get overworked during the regular season. And they'll be back again here next year. But they didn't lose yet. They still have the best pitcher in the playoffs going in Yamamoto. And when you push it to a Game 7, it's a coin flip. Just
But this is the chance. This is the team that can finally figure out winning back-to-back titles and wearing their hat.
They were
correctly.
supposed to not lose a game the whole year.
Yeah.
They're ruining baseball. They're the worst team in the world for like my hat's like the gnome.
Yep.
But yeah, we're the worst team ever. We thing in baseball history because the Dodgers are going to win back-to-back titles. Well, the Blue Jays are saying not so fast, people, as Lee Corso used to say, not so fast, my friend. And yes, Yamamoto could go out and deal, but Yamamoto could go out and get whacked. He got hit against the Phillies. It's possible.
In the first 5 games,
the starters.
I know that the Blue Jays are leading 3-2 in the first 5. don't they look like the better, more complete team?
The Blue Jays do.
Yeah.
100%. They're, again, we said it last night on the postgame. The Blue Jays are literally one swing away from this series being over. 4-1. They were celebrating in LA last night.
The Dodgers
Freddie
have
Freeman's. If they could have figured out a way to score a run, this series was over. Right now.
Yeah. They might have the best starter and the best, obviously, player overall. But in terms of complete team, contact, even pop, defense, bullpen,
everything.
they've got most categories.
The Dodgers kind of look like the 24 Yankees. A little bit. Not quite as
the
bad.
fundamental issues,
That's
though.
what I'm saying. They've made some mistakes in the field.
But they don't run the bases like drunks.
Well, no, that's true. Who said
I get
that?
what you're saying. That was John Sterling? No.
Yeah, somebody said
Yeah,
that.
John
Anyways.
Sterling, I think. Right? Last year was his last year?
Mm-hmm.
Was his
Yeah,
final
because
season?
Dave Sims came over.
Running the bases like drunks. So I don't think it's like that. But I'll give credit to Dodger fans as a whole. You know, we have our Dodgers Territory show. I tune in a lot. They've been critical of this team. And you can say some of it's jaded, but they have pointed out flaws. Joe Davis has pointed that out too. He's calling a lot of Dodger games during the year. He's like, there was a 2.5-month stretch where this team couldn't hit a lick. And everybody knows about their bullpen issues towards the end of the season that have carried into the postseason. This is by no means a perfect team. This is probably a depressing clip because we clip stuff like this off for 10 minutes and put it on the YouTube channel. Dodger fans are going to be like, Kratz are going to be like, we suck. We're terrible. You're not terrible. It's a super talented team. It just doesn't look like the best team in baseball, and it certainly doesn't look like one of the best teams of all time. I think we should wipe that part away. One of the best teams ever. We saw that from quite a few media members throwing that out there on Twitter and in articles. I saw
fans.
This might be the best team ever. Why? Because they swept the Brewers? That's it? Best team ever because they swept the Brewers? Not for me. Do you think they're should be even in the same sentence?
No, they wouldn't be in my top five.
Ohtani is the best player ever. I think we can make a case for that. But best team?
No, they didn't win. They didn't even get a bye.
There's auto outs right now in the lineup too that they've been trying to figure out.
7 of them. And there's 6 and whoever Kratz picks to be his lock. Those are the. If Kratz picked Ohtani, he'd even go 0-5. Freddie Kratz picked me. I'm screwed.
Well, I already locked in my lock for tomorrow, so already locked it in.
Hopefully it's whoever it is. Whatever on Halloween, whatever hitter you pick tomorrow, they're like, no, there's a black cat. No, please no.
Yeah, don't do any picks. Pick the umpire.
Yes. Pick Alan Porter.
How many correct balls and strikes? Wait, I have one final comment, and then we got to get to our next guest. This clip is going to be watched by thousands, but half the comments are just going to be about the fact that you guys wear backwards hats.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm trying to be like my here.
There's some people.
What if I there? Now do I look like the troll or the gnome?
Oh, that's good. That's
wow,
nice.
That's perfect.
That's good. You should wear that more often.
I don't have the plant because Scott moved the plant on us, but
I didn't. I can't get it or I'll get disconnected. But for those of you out there that are obsessed with telling AJ and Kratz their hats are worn backwards.
You want to know why? There you go. Look, you want to know my hat's backwards? Because look at this hair. I don't have time like Scott to coif it daily.
I think it looks good like that. But
look at this
you
hair.
go.
It's not coiffed.
Mine's certainly not coiffed. It's a curly.
Right, fine. I'll wear my hat forwards. Does that make people feel like me better?
Does this
For
make
some,
guys?
they're
Does this make
obsessed.
you guys respect me more? I want guys wearing their hats the correct way, and you guys are going to run sprints every time I see one of y'all not doing it the right way, because this is how we play baseball. It's the small things. It's the small things that are going to make us win, make us better men, and make us a better team. That's what I'm doing. Let's go, Minnesota Twins.
Next up, the new trend might be hiring military sergeants to be managers.
They tried that.
They did.
The
Pirates.
guy
Pirates.
Bannister.
Pirates.
Bannister. They tried it.
Pirates tried to do military drills. All right, we're getting off the rails, and we do have a guest waiting for us, so let's do it. Coach, we got a coach joining us next. Coach, whoa, Bobby
Come on,
Moranda
Coach.
joining us next. The old card experience was a slow burn, long grind, right? Find the box, find the pack you want, open the pack. Most of the cards, nah, right? You got one that's worth something. Now send it in for grading.
Yeah.
I mean, the list goes on and on. You want to sell it? Now you got to put it up. Then you got to ship it out.
Yeah.
There's one solution for that, and it's called
Arena Club. And it's just on a click of a dime. You get on your computer, you type in, get the Arena Club app, go on there, type in, put some money in and type in exactly what kind of cards you want, and voila, it's a great experience. And I think that's what people miss nowadays, the experience, the excitement of getting a new card. You never know what you're going to get, an autograph card, anything you could think of. Really cool stuff.
you can get 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase at arenaclub.com/foul. See what gets Toddfather so excited when he gets that digital slab pack. It's like butter, baby.
Butter.
And I'm like, you just take the common cards out.
Yeah, exactly. We're actually talking about Arena Club right now.
Yeah.
And what they do is get rid of the common card crap, right? You want the good stuff? You open it in a slab pack. For real. That's the good stuff.
Yeah.
I know this is Arena Club. I love the superstar cards, and I will open some. But I was a common card. I want somebody to open a me. I want somebody to open a me in Arena Club.
Kratz, we still had Kratz autos. There were still Kratz refractors. There were fancy Kratz cards. There were definitely.
Yeah. There was like
actually
there was like nine
more of those.
There was like 9 colors of my rookie card.
Really? Do you have some of your rookie cards?
Do you have every card that you have? Do you have every card?
I think so, yeah.
Because people always say that they try to get every card, and I have a lot of cards, but I think there are some ones of one that I don't have.
Oh, no, yeah, I don't have that.
I want them.
You want them? Why?
Just so I can hold them over you on my phone, and you'll try to grab it, and I'll be like, no, it's in my showroom. I can send it to you.
That's
actually a good idea.
I have the plate of my rookie card. That's the coolest thing. But all of it's given to me. Like I didn't know it existed, and then people sent it to me. So that's what's awesome. I'm gonna put that in my showroom.
My first card was so old ago. They had a printing press. They didn't even have plates. They printed presses.
Wow. Well,
I mean, think about my first card was 1994.
Yeah, it's a very different time period in the card world.
Dang, you're old. Sorry, Tony Vitello.
Coach Mo joining us right now. Bobby Moranda on the show for the first time, and you can catch him on ESPN. Lots of college baseball analysis, tons of experience in the D1 game. Coach, great to have you on the show, first of all. And we're going to do like some sections here. We'll get to some coaching questions, but I do want to start with MLB in the World Series and some of what we have communicated about off the show. So how you doing? Great to have you on. And why don't you introduce to the world some of the math that you use to analyze the game?
Yeah, first off, hats on backwards. Come on, I'm old school as they come, so no problem there whatsoever. Got yelled at a lot about that. And I got to cover one thing really quick with AJ. Born and bred White Sox fan from Chi-Town.
Yes. Nice.
Wayne Nordhagen, Bart Johnson.
Yeah.
Kenny Henderson, Chet Lemon, Juice, you know all the guys. So
nice.
Big time. So just
welcome.
Let you know
it's about damn time we got more White Sox fans on here. We always have these Cubs people on here. It's about time we got some White Sox love on this show.
That's right.
Tough times for the organization.
It has been a little tough
last
times.
few years. Things are looking up.
Yeah.
So let's.
And then the next thing I just want to
mention.
mention, I was going to say the next thing is, hey, I'm old school, metrics, stats, all this analytics stuff. I get it. It's not robots playing the game. It's humans. It's about toughness. It's about, just executing and being overlooked. That's what the Jays are all about, I think, so far, kind of being underestimated and overlooked. But what we're going to talk about is marrying the two. Everyone talks about OPS, offensively. And then the last year or so, they're starting to talk about OPS allowed on the defensive side, maybe individually by pitchers. We want to marry both defense and offense and show that differential. And it's been just fascinating to see at the college game the last 3 years. And now at the MLB level in the playoffs, right now, if the Dodgers win, it'll be 11 of 12 where the OPS differential is correct. Offense versus defense, the difference between those two. how you do. If the Blue Jays win, we'll talk about why here in a sec. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. I want to see what you guys
All right.
think.
Well, okay. So dive in deeper here. So tell me about OPS differential and how it's playing out in the current postseason, and then also you can mention how it has played out in college baseball right now. And if we're getting real granular for people, obviously, if you're watching the show regularly, you know on base plus slugging percentage, and this is not adjusted, right? This is just the plain old on base plus slugging percentage, both in terms of offense and in terms of run prevention.
Right, and it's 162. So the inventory matters. More head-to-head is more accurate. So what I've looked at in the college game, you look at the SEC. So in the SEC, the last 3 years, LSU national champions in 25, Tennessee 24, LSU 23. They're all 1 or 2 in the SEC in OPS differential. They win a national championship. In the big leagues, 22 the Astros, 23 the Rangers, 24 the Dodgers, all top 4, 1, 2, and 4 in the big leagues in OPS differential. So not just like how much we slug, it's what we do on both sides of the ball from a defensive standpoint. And what you're thinking about there, you're like, well, that's just all about pitching. And this is for you, Erik and AJ. It's about the catching too. And I think that's where the Blue Jays, it's kind of underrated what Kirk does. The way he receives, I think he's number 2 in the league in receiving by StatCast. Blocking, he's number 1. You know, he just doesn't give up 90s, doesn't get people in scoring position. And then it's the defensive athletes. Started sharing this with some of these coaches. You know, I called Jay Johnson at LSU, Oak at Virginia, not Mississippi State, Slosh, Link Jarrett at Florida State. I started throwing this stuff out there, and they're like, wow, man, this is cool. You know what? Wait a second. This has to do with our athletes. So if you have like Freddie Freeman on the corner, you have Kirk behind the plate, you have Manny Machado at third, or maybe Clement, who's a UVA player, at third, and then you got guys in the outfield that are deers running around. You're taking away slug. And so when you take away slug, that's the secret sauce. And I feel that's what's happened with the Blue Jays. Think about it. You've added Scherzer, you've added Bieber. That's 2 Cy Young pitchers, and then a prodigy, you know, that rookie Yesavage, you know. So you add those 3 guys basically at the end of the season, it's a totally different story. They go from, you know, 8th in the league in OPS differential, and now they're, you know, getting ready to be 1 game away from a possible championship against the number 2 ranked OPS differential team, the Dodgers. And the other thing that I would say is that the Blue Jays took out the number 1 OPS differential, the only one that was messed up in the playoffs with this, and that was the Yankees. Yankees were number 1 in the big leagues in this metric. They wiped them out, and then you see a championship after that happen in college when LSU wiped out Wake Forest in 2023. That was Paul Skeen's Rhett Lauder game in Omaha, and boom, LSU goes on to win the national championship. Same thing last year. LSU wiped out Arkansas, number 1 in the country in this differential. Boom, LSU goes on to win the national championship. So you take off the king, and then these teams have a tendency to go get hot and make a statement.
How small is too small of a sample size? Because in college,
I mean, I think
you're really going small.
Yeah, the big league stuff is small because I just started doing it. I called True Media, I called our guy at ESPN. I said, hey, can you give me the playoff teams? And he did. And I kept texting Scott. I was like, this is crazy. We were 100% in the wild card. And then, one messed up in the next round, the divisional round, then 100%. And then it just kept going. In college baseball, it's all series. It's not just the game, it's the series. So the super regionals have been like 13 of 16 in 23 and 24 as far as being accurate. So, yeah, I mean, it's a small sample size as far as years, but the accuracy has been almost at 90% as far as series winners.
That's pretty good. It's more telling than run differential because Scott loves run differential.
No, you do.
No, I
hate
don't.
Run differential.
Scott loves
like
it, though.
Scott texts me. It's lazy. It's lazy.
Scott loves it.
AJ loves it.
I don't. I just find it funny to make you angry when I say that you like it.
So it's a lazy stat.
It is, but
This is less lazy.
This is less lazy, and it's interesting that this is. So why don't teams just why doesn't every team build their program around this?
Yeah, why don't they do this for
what we were saying.
Yeah.
Build. I guarantee you front offices, and I think Vegas is doing this right now to create odds or something. But I called all these guys, Jay Johnson, Brian O'Connor, Slosh, Link Jarrett, Sully, just everybody. And they're like, Tony, I'll give you a funny Tony story. So Tony's going into a regional at Clemson. This is 3 years ago. And I said, Tony, you're going to win the regional, and I love those guys at Clemson, but you will win the regional because of this, and I'm throwing the numbers at him. He goes and shows it to his staff and texts me back and goes, I don't know what you're talking about, but he goes, I showed it to everybody. It made us confident that we were higher in this than they were. And sure enough, that it played out. Brian O'Connor was playing Duke 2 years ago to go to Omaha in a super. And Brian was really into this. And Brian goes, hey, we lost the first game, but if you're right, this will play out. I watched the game on TV on a Monday. They went to game 3 in a super. 20 minutes after the game, he shoots me a text. He goes, OPS differential, man. There's something to this. It played out because they lost the first game, then won the next 2. And it's all about traffic, creating traffic. It's old school. There's nothing about this that is like launch angle or all this other BS. You know what I mean? This is old school baseball. Do you take your walk? Do you make contact? Do you get on base? Do you slug? And do you prevent that stuff on the defensive side? And I feel like for years, and I didn't do this as a coach, I just came up with this after I got into broadcasting. I said, I got to know these teams better. How can I do it? Looked at the 22 Ole Miss team that they won the national championship, and they were zeroed out in the SEC. When you're zero, okay, that means you're going to Vegas as like a slot machine. You're giving up what you get offensively, if that makes sense. All right. So I said, how did you make that run, Mike? And he goes, we just eliminated all of our pitchers that weren't getting it done. We threw 4 or 5 guys total, made a run to the national championship. And they were slugging number 1 in the country that year. Well, they were giving up slug too, eliminated that, and started winning at a high level. And this is what like all these teams are doing pretty much at a 90% clip.
When you mentioned all those names, one of the names you mentioned was Tony Vitello. What's his transition going to be like to the big leagues? And is he the new poster child? Because if this doesn't work, all college coaches cooked. If this does work, we're going to see an influx like the minor leagues saw. Everybody that makes a good PowerPoint presentation all of a sudden becomes a minor league coordinator of a position. So
correct.
Where's Tony at with this?
Yeah, I agree with you, Eric. I mean, and I've heard you guys talk about this already, and it is fascinating, right? He's the pioneer, but the guy that I trust is Buster. And I heard you say this a week ago or whatever. We recruited Buster out of high school to go to Georgia Tech when I was there, off from full ride. He turned us down with the Florida State. What an unbelievable kid, unbelievable person, super smart. This guy knows what he's doing. I trust him. Tony, on the other hand, I will tell you straight up, he rubs some people the wrong way at times, whatever. With me, I've known him since he was 23 out on the road, and I absolutely love the guy. He has been super consistent since he was 23. I was a Power 5 coach for a long time in the ACC. Then I went to be a mid-major head coach, still treated me the same, no matter what uniform I was wearing. His team came to Western Carolina and played us in Cullowhee, which a lot of guys will not do at that level. I just feel like he's a guy that people can get behind, and he's a guy's guy. I mean, he's in there in the fight with you. How that translates to 162, I've never played in the big leagues. You guys have. That's going to be the thing. But my boy Murph, I think, is the reason this is happening. I think Murph broke that glass ceiling. Obviously he was in the minor leagues for a while. He bench coach, all that stuff. But his foundation was a college coach. And I feel like there's a lot of guys out there, if this does work, that could be quality candidates to do, the copycat league will go after it, right? Because, like a Tim Corbin or someone like that, Slosh at Texas, Jay Johnson at LSU would be outstanding. Danny Hall from back in, he's retired, but boy, these are quality baseball men.
Well, you can't hire Slosh because he might leave in the middle and say, wait, no. He might have done that a time or
too soon.
or maybe for
Yeah.
Texas A&M fans and TCU
Oh, yeah.
fans. But I'm just, I mean, he's had a history of not. You can't really do that in the big leagues.
For
Leave
sure.
mid-season.
No, Erik,
You
great
can't just,
point, though.
yeah, you can't really just do that.
Well, a lot of pressure on Tony. If it works,
No question.
half the league will have Tony Vitellos. If it doesn't, we might never see it again.
True.
But Coach Mo,
Totally.
great to have you on, man. Thanks for the time. Thanks for telling everyone how much
Now I got to look for this.
Pythagorean theorem
Yeah.
with
It's not
run
out there.
differential
You
is
can't
trash.
find it. That's the thing that, I want it on every stat sheet. At the end of the sheet, it ought to have OPS allowed by that pitcher and OPS allowed by the staff. And then OPS obviously is on the offensive side.
Sure.
And then the differential ought to be there. We ought to know that differential of, hey, where do these teams lie? I mean, just one more thing, AJ, our White Sox had the worst differential. Let me find it. Our White Sox last year.
No kidding.
Last year.
I mean, they also had the worst record.
142. Minus
They also had-
142.
Wait, 25 or 24?
That was 24. And by the way, they also lost the
24.
most games of all time. So, I mean, that's
That's
a big sample size.
Right.
Their,
And
their
here's the crazy
OPS
thing.
difference. Their OPS difference is almost as how many games they lost last year.
That's right. It's amazing the wins and losses, how they match up to OPS on the allowed side, that secret sauce, and how that difference is the standings. And we're not even talking about wins and losses in college and in the big leagues. It's crazy. And so for that not to be out there, and even I'm embarrassed, and so are all these other coaches, they never even heard of it when I started talking to them about it. I'm talking about the top guys in college, and we're all sitting there like, why weren't we thinking about this all along? And it's like the forest through the trees. It's right there in front of our face. And I mean, it's pretty obvious
you.
what's going on. So
I'm
anyway,
with you. Run differential, trash, lazy. Coach Mo, you're the man. Thanks for joining us. Great to have you on.
Yes, thank you.
FT rocks, man. You guys crush it.
Thank you so much. BetMGM locks.
Winner, chicken dinner, Pep.
Look at this guy
Winner, chicken dinner.
acting like it's easy too.
I mean, check the statics.
16 pitches for Blake Snell. Hey, I will say this. You know what's fun this postseason? 116 pitches.
Yeah.
Letting a starter eat. Letting a
Yes.
starter
Yes.
gobble up.
Yes. Make it rain up in this bitch.
I'm at 230. Where's my freaking
Yeah, but
flow?
we're combining, but I'm done. You still have to bet. And if we combine my regular season and my postseason,
Yo.
Good job.
Yo.
Good job. Take your $79
that's fine.
to Florida, Georgia, and
Oh.
buy 2 drinks.
I don't know the last time you went to a college
No,
game.
it's 10 drinks. How
Yeah.
much is a drink?
I don't know because I drink them all before I go in.
Not at the game, like at the bars around.
I bring my own.
All right, then we don't
It's
know.
BYOBs.
I'm just glad I'm down $1.09. 9.25 cents. So pam to me. The graphic says, hey.
Sir, that's a compliment.
You guys are cute though with your little, Did you finish in the positives in the regular season? How
did.
much? $2?
I don't know.
I was 2,000.
I will look.
Yes.
2,000 up. 2,000. 2,300 up.
I don't BYOB.
Follow me, people. I make it rain.
I don't BYOB. I buy that cabana.
I
at the
buy
game.
it and I bring it for everybody. That's the problem. I need that $79.
That's true.
Because if you go in my garage right now, there's a whole damn liquor store in there.
Yeah. Don't get any thoughts because he's leaving.
Florida, Georgia
He'll be
this
on the
weekend.
road.
Come find me. I'll be the guy. I have 2 Gator flags flying. You can find me.
Oh,
Not hard to
the
find.
only one.
No, La J, you'll know it. You'll hear the music.
The only person flying full
I have
Florida.
2. I'll fly 2.
Florida flags.
There's 2.
what kind of music? Is it a mix? Is it eclectic?
Yeah, whatever. We have a guy.
Okay. You got a guy? You got a DJ?
We have a security guy and we
Adam
have a guy
Amigo?
that plays music. We
Adam
have a
Amin
security.
should be
I
great.
bring in my buddy TJ. He's our security guy.
You security? Yeah.
Yeah, because we get portalets, and then he stands there in front of the portalets like this, and we put locks on him, and he's like, "Nope, $20."
Wow. Fancy.
Oh, yeah.
But if you have $20 in your Orlando, you
You know how much?
use
Yeah,
it.
you got to
Yeah.
be. Yeah, And he just Venmos. That's his tip for being there.
Wow.
He makes a lot of money too, because then
gotta-
college kids get drunk and they need to pee.
All over age. All over age.
MLB's most interesting man is rookie Trey Yesavage. Absolutely dominated the Dodgers to give the Blue Jays a 3-2 series edge. Don't forget how he dominated the Yankees in the ALDS. This dude has barely touched the big leagues, but he is playing postseason ball as well as any rookie pitcher in Major League history. And there's more to the story. There's actually a lot more to the story. Why? Because he didn't think he was going to be doing this right now. So we're learning a lot about Trey. Number one, taking classes at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Taking classes. How many? 4.
Yeah, 'cause he's trying to get his
college
degree.
classes. Yeah, because he thought October was going to be kind of chill.
So guys do this.
Yeah, they do, but not when they expect
Not
to
when
be
they're
pitching
pitching
all
game 5.
October.
You know, as Magic Johnson said, this is a big game. Whoever wins this takes control of the series. He was
Hey,
right.
Trey knew it.
Trey Yesavage must have saw that tweet.
He did. You know why? Because he was locked in, Kratz. There was a picture of him to show off how locked in he was. And did you hear the quote that he said? Oh, you didn't hear about this?
No, but okay, go ahead, because then I have another question about this.
Okay, because you're really going to enjoy this. So there's this picture of him in the clubhouse. Here it is, because we have the best production team in the biz. And it says Trey Yesavage is locked in, and they show the nameplate and him with the headphones on. But what you don't see, well, you can kind of see that he's on his phone. He goes, quote, I saw something on Instagram that someone took a video of me on my phone saying I was locked in, but I was just doom scrolling on TikTok and Instagram Reels.
I mean, he's such a screenager.
He's
Such a screenager. It's awesome. He was in college last year, this kid. But it's awesome. But
He's still in college.
He is still in college, you're right.
Touche.
He's got, yeah, true. But when they showed his parents, we can't get his parents Blue Jays hats. They just have the Waste Management MLB logo. We can't get them like some Blue Jays gear. Like
MLB got to them first.
Scott, Kratz, can you call the Blue Jays? I don't know, who's the home guy in Toronto now? The clubhouse guy. Like, can we call him and get some?
Switch.
Can we get some gear?
I mean, I got some extra hats here. Like, if you want, does he want some hats?
Yeah.
Tell me what
Mr.
Mr. Yesavage. I'll drive him. I'll drive him up there. He only lives 20 minutes from my house. So, Boyertown, Pennsylvania kid. That's what they do, though. When you're built in the fire, the cauldron of Pennsylvania, you know what? You show up in big moments. Florida guys, they kind of like flake off.
Right.
One of his 4 online classes that he's taking right now, media criticism.
Nice. That sounds like a fun class.
Does he just watch?
So that's why he's on Instagram. He's just commenting on everything.
He goes through our clips.
He just comments like all the people that are all on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. The comments, they learn media criticism.
That's good. Here's another one to make him the most interesting man. We've touched on this, but I want to make sure that we emphasize that
he can build a barn with his bare hands like Kratz.
He is the most interesting man.
He
lives
drives
in
a
hotel rooms,
horse and buggy.
even when he's home. But wait, there's more.
Well, that's not a big deal.
But wait, there's more. He has to check out when he leaves.
Yeah,
Put his stuff in his car like a storage unit, and then get back in town, get all of his stuff, and recheck in and reacclimate.
We had this. I had this conversation about the
checkout
postseason
process.
Yeah, we used to check in and check out all the time.
But I have a question.
We used to do this because your lease is up and you don't want to pay. If you're on the road for a week, you don't want to pay for that week, especially when you're not making a ton of money. So the hotel lets you check out. When I was in AAA, we used to, in Salt Lake, we used to stay at this Candlewood Suites, and it was like $10 or $15 a day. And we check out, and they just let us store our luggage while we were on the road trips in the closet, and then we come back and they'd have our rooms ready. It was great because they had the back then Candlewood Suites. We were like, oh my gosh, we're in the Four Seasons Peninsula, whatever, Almond, whatever we're in, but this is not, you're making this a thing. This is not a thing. When I was in the World Series 2005, I stayed in the hotel. I'd check out, we went on the road, and I'd come back, and they were like, your room's ready.
Can't you just stay?
You got to pay for it.
I know, but for Trey, for example.
He's not making that.
I know. I mean, he's going to get a nice playoff share, as he talked about yesterday.
But right now, he might not have. I mean, he was a first-round pick.
He made $4 million signing bonus.
Yeah, but still.
Yeah. I'm just saying, isn't it kind
He's
of
probably got one bag of clothes that because, again, this kid was started in A-ball. So he's probably got one bag of clothes, right, Kratzy, that he's lived with his whole life. He's probably got like one suit, if they still even wear suits anymore, which most teams don't, right? So he's just got this one bag. He just, whatever he throws in his car and does his laundry and wash and fold. By the way, if you don't know what a wash and fold is, one of the greatest things
it off,
ever been. You drop it off, you pay like a certain amount per pound, and you pick it up, and it smells all nice, and it's all folded, and they just hand it to you, and it's all folded, and you don't even have to worry about it. It's awesome.
Can you pay the clubbies to do it, or that's
not guys allowed? Don't really do that. I mean, some guys used to do that, but
yeah, guys do that.
Easier. Yeah, it seems easier. Yeah,
I'll double down on this. 2014, we're in the World Series. We went residence in for the entire month of October because I got traded to the Royals in July. I was, in and out of hotels. You check out, and then my family came to the postseason. So we were doing all this, and then checking into, the hotel in San Francisco, or when we went to Baltimore. So you're checking in and out, and if you find a hotel, like AJ said, that keeps your stuff. The other issue is that's huge. The other issue is your other teammates are there, and sometimes your teammates are in the hotel, and they don't have to play the next day. A pitcher that just pitched. Hotels can get loud. You don't get sleep during the playoffs. So there's other things it's not just a Trey Yesavage life.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know this stuff. That's what this show is for. All right.
Mm-hmm.
We've had a good day today. This show flew by. But what will we do for slap hands? That's next. No games to bet on tonight, so instead we take BetMGM's post today about the youngest managers since 1950. Do you know these guys? Blake Butera, we don't know.
I know Frank Quilici.
You do?
Yeah.
1972 Minnesota manager?
Yeah, he was around.
What do you know
when
about
I was a Twin. Yeah, he'd come around. He's a really nice guy.
What do we know about his 33-year-old manager tenure?
I don't think it went that well, but I don't know anything really about it. I didn't even know he was the manager. I thought he was a player.
And then same with Dave Bristol.
I don't know him.
In Cincinnati in 1966.
I don't know him.
Were those player manager days?
Maybe.
Because to me, if we're doing player manager days, I don't even know if that should count. It's like such a different world.
I
Yeah.
hope one of the players isn't dating Blake's mom.
Like Little Big League, which is also about the Twins, by the way.
That's right. By the way,
I have a bunch of friends that were in that show too. They were minor leaguers with the Twins.
Oh yeah,
at the time. They're from Minnesota, so they were like, when they show them in the dugout and they show those idiots, they're like those are all buddies of mine I played with in the minor leagues that were from Minnesota.
And they got in. That's cool. Did you guys catch Dave Roberts doing the interview with Tom Bertucci, and they had to do a quickie replay review decision, and he was like, not play on? I thought that was really smooth from Doc.
It was awesome.
It's not easy on Tom or Ken in there too.
No,
I think they do such a
everybody
great job.
says they don't like those. Those interviews are super informative.
Those interviews are awesome.
But it sucks when you're doing it live because you just don't know what's going to happen. And who was it? Tom had Dave, and Dave's like, talking about moves or whatever. Like the Dave and Dave and Schneider both have been really good about it. But that's why they want to do them, get in and out. But they don't want to tape. This is still TV Insider. They don't want to tape them because if they're showing that and then somebody goes deep, they're still running the manager talking. So they'd rather do them live and just do one or two questions and get them out. Like if you notice there are one or two questions, boom, let's move on. But they don't want to tape them because they don't want to be running a taped interview and something happened in the game they got to talk about. So they'd rather do it live. And if something does happen, you notice those interviews are over.
Yes.
Boom, over. And by the way, Frank Quilici was not a player coach, but he went from he was signed as a coach because they were worried that someone might get hurt, and he was an insurance policy he could play.
Wow.
But he never played again.
Roster manipulation.
More to the story there. Hey, Pro Football No Sweat Token. Get your stake back in bonus bets on the day where there's no baseball. There you go. Gambling problem or concern? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, let's slap. About 2 minutes to go. First off, apologies, Kratz. We've been so busy lately that I recognize that I've been missing some Kratz Hatz days.
Oh, that's okay. I was wearing a White Sox hat for like 3 days straight and nobody noticed. I mean, why not? When they get their new manager, why not? Everybody gets a hat. Maybe that's why Derek Shelton became the manager there. He's like,
not the Marlins?
Less.
Is that Marlins hat?
Is it the Marlins? Nope. Washington. Nope.
Good one.
Minnesota. So
that's
Star, the North Star.
That's versatile. Like if you're a Twins fan right now, you're embarrassed. Instead of buying a paper bag,
you could go like Rally Cabin and be like, "Look, I'm actually a Nationals fan because they got a new manager too."
And then you're embarrassed about the Nats, and then you're like, "Wait, but the Marlins are a little less embarrassing right now. They actually had kind of a decent season." Yeah.
Oh man.
Tell them how to pitch,
and then when they trade Sandy Alcantara, you can be like, and then
I'm a Nationals fan.
Then you just buy a new hat.
I'm a fan of. I actually really do like Minnesota. It was a great place to come up and as a young player.
Yeah,
they were a really good organization to come up under. You learned a lot. They forced you to learn a lot about the game because they weren't just gonna. With Tom Kelly there, they weren't just gonna call you up and say go get them. You had to know how to do a lot of stuff.
I wasn't trolling earlier. I'm serious. Derek Shelton is going to feel like he's on a first-class flight now. Yeah, I feel that way.
Congrats to Shelty. I love Shelty. And congrats to Butera, too.
The Twins organization has done it better than the Pirates organization in the past lot of years.
The Pirates have won one more series in the playoffs in the last
the Twins count their wild card series.
20-something years than the Pirates have.
The Twins or the Pirates?
Twins.
Yeah, the Twins have, right.
Yeah, they won one more. They won one.
Wait till the salary cap comes in, guys. You're going to be eating your words. Salary cap.
Did you watch the what was the guy's name we had on Maury yesterday? It said how much money the Dodgers would be making if there was a cap. Trust me, owners, they want a cap because they make way more money.
Oh yeah,
way more money.
No, it's because the Pirates and the Twins, they're going to be able to win now because they've been held down. That's what it is. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm. Nothing to do with who's running the ship. I'm rooting for Shelty.
I'm dressing up as Bob Nutting for Halloween.
Oh, that's good. All right, we're back for a couple minutes here to give a special shout out to Fox One for being the sponsor, of our World Series coverage, our postseason coverage. Fox One has been doing it and getting big numbers too. 7-figure signups on the app. Why? And this is your opportunity. You gave us a little sneak peek, but Big Noon, NFL, shows. You know who hosts The Floor? Dodgers super fan.
Oh, Rob Lowe. But is he a Dodgers super fan? Because he just wears the MLB hat like Yesavage's family.
True. I mean, I think if he has
is he like Meghan Markle that's been spotted in a Blue Jays, Yankees, and now a Dodgers hat? Is he like that? Or is that just Meghan Markle?
Meghan Markle is on Fox. She was on for a little cameo on the World Series coverage. We saw her. There it is. The Floor. Can we get you on one of these games? You work there.
You know what? I want to be on Lego Masters on Fox. I've always asked them to do that, and they haven't figured out how to do it yet.
I think you would crush.
I'd be great at like the stupid games of 99 to beat, like, putting pasta through
the little stuff.
Yeah, I'd be awesome at that.
I think it would be hilarious.
I'm not that one. Masked Singer, not so much.
No.
Masked Singer, not so much.
We're gonna keep AJ away from Masked Singer, but
no.
99 to beat. I think that's the one.
That's the one. Can I just start punching people?
I mean, everyone has to sign a waiver on the promo that they have that I've been watching during the World Series. Like the guy goes like, medic.
You know which one I think Kratz would be good at? Is the Fox show, the Special Forces, when they do.
Ooh,
yes. Kratz in like the waterboarding and see how he reacts.
Do you know what the line is on the promo for that one right now? Because I have them all memorized. For real. So
do not try this at home.
There's someone crying going, I want to go home.
Yeah.
I want to go home. I would win that. And the reason I would win that, unless I couldn't physically do the challenge because I'm too fat and unathletic anymore, I just wouldn't quit. The minor leagues killed me. I'm dead inside. So the minor leagues already killed me. A stupid challenge on TV couldn't kill me. That's why I'll win the Amazing Race when I go on it.
Oh, I want to do Amazing Race. That would be the one I would
You
like
and
to
Kratz.
Do. And Fear Factor. They're bringing Fear Factor. I used to love Joe Rogan and Fear Factor. That shit was awesome.
What?
Johnny Knoxville.
Johnny Knoxville goes, he goes, you're going to be okay. And he goes, I don't think they're going to be okay. And there's like ambulances and medevacs coming in.
He goes, you got this.
Yeah.
And he's like, they don't got this. Knoxville's really funny. I mean, I grew up prime Jackass watcher, and awesome. He's become like a superstar.
Fear Factor's NBC. Oh, sorry.
No,
it's on Fox now.
No.
It's on Fox. They show it on the World Series. Mark 50 times a game.
It used to be on NBC, and Fox grabbed that bad boy.
Yeah, so once again, like I did a radio show in Atlanta today, and they were blaming the producer. So I'm blaming the producer for false information.
They swiped it.
Yes.
That show was built for Fox, and Fox won. So anyway, just wanted to give them a thank you.
Fox will do it right.
Yes. This was the last show of the season for AJ.
Saw Nick Wright playing poker at MGM when we were there in Vegas.
Did you?
Yeah. Sure did.
There you go. A lot of mini clips to check out. A lot of Nick.
Done Barstool. Great.
Your
funny
boys.
show.
Yep. All right. Anyway, this has been fun. Hope you enjoy it. This is what we do like when we're not on the show. This is our conversation. So if you like this, great.
And if you don't, take Trey Yesavage's media criticism class, and we don't care.
We will see everyone for tomorrow's FT, 1:00 Eastern time, and a post-game show. I think I can say who's joining us. Do you guys know we're going to have a special guest on our post-game show? This is good for anyone that stuck around.
No.
It's me, it's Kratz, and it's... I'm waiting to see if I can say it. I think I can say it. Not 100% confirmed, but likely. Good enough. Buck Showalter on the post-game show. I think he's going to be great. He's going to love that. Buck's essentially going to host, and he'll ask me questions. Scotty, what did you think about that? And I'll be like, Buck, you're a manager. What did you think about that? See you manana, people.
Come and watch some hosting ping pong between Buck and Scott.
No, what did you think?
Yes.